Let's get into this tea about Ghostface Killah, because apparently, did y'all know he had a homosexual for a son? Well, his son was a rapper. Has a two songs called "Sweet Face Killer" and "Dad and I," and he released those songs on September 17th. And that was the first time I actually heard from this rapper. His name is Dennis Coles, but he goes by a different name. I was like, hold on, because I had it in here. Um, then why is it not coming to me? Oh, Coles, that's what his name is called. I don't know why it wasn't coming up. But yeah, I listened to his song "Sweet Face Killer." Let me tell you something. I was shocked when I heard. I was like, okay, this kid's got skills, and we definitely need more queer rappers out here doing the damn thing because. And shout out to a friend of mine, DJ Baker, who does the weekly top 40 over there on We Are You Radio. He does do a show where he posts a lot of videos and he does a countdown on a lot of openly queer talented. All they hit all the rainbows, the LGB and the T and the LMNOP. So all of them. He does a whole countdown with a lot of their songs and all of the stuff. So if you want to hear some real queer talent, definitely go check out We Are You Radio. That's WERU Radio. I was supposed to do something with them maybe like 2, 3 years ago, but um life started to happen. But anyway, so let's get into the story. So now, as a founding member of Staten Island rap collective Wu-Tang Clan, he helped redefine the urban landscape by pioneering an often unorthodox, always uncompromising brand of Shaolin-inspired hip-hop. But for all his professional triumphs, rapper Dennis Coles, known to millions as the lyrically gifted Ghostface Killer, is at the beating heart of a very personal division with a son who now hopes to reshape the genre that took his father away from the projects and make him a star. Openly homosexual and a committed member of the New York queer community's vibrant Vogue ballroom scene. Oh, I did not know he was in the scene. He definitely gets Butch Queen or Femme Queen. A subculture that changed his life, Infinite Cole says his sexuality drove a wedge between him and his father, with whom he has not spoken in more than a decade, and ultimately provided the creative spark that inspired a new double A side single, Sweet Face Killer and Dad and I. Now, he said, I'm close to my mom's side of the family. My uncle Rizza, I grew up with that side of of the family, my cousins. I think when I was a kid, I had a great time. But you get older and become yourself, and people either distance themselves or love you for you. As I got older, my dad's been seen some things in me that he didn't like, and he just distanced himself. He would randomly pop up. There's not moments I can remember where we were together for a whole month or a whole week. So one of the things that I feel like is um sad about all of this is that when you are a black child, and yeah, you can't help who you are and who you become and who you love. And he's an effeminate gay man. He can't help that. That's just a part of who he is. You the one that created him. And now you're someone who has an issue with you're ashamed of something that you created because he didn't turn out the way that you wanted him to. So shout out to, the many black men out there who love on their children who are queer and is like I will love them for who they are instead of, trying to disown them they're because you feel like people out there are gonna clown you for, oh, your son a little soft or sweet or whatever. I was like, if that's what you're gonna do, then you shouldn't even be out here shooting sperm into somebody's puss and making a baby. So he went on to say it was like, oh, dad's in town. Maybe he'll call us up and bring us to a restaurant or something. But those were my childhood days. And I think the shift changed when I started living as who I am with my sexuality. I think when he found out about it or started to have thoughts about it, I think that's when the distance really happened because I have brothers and sisters and he always talks to them. Bold, brash, and buoyed with an empowering queer confidence, Infinite admits he has an overwhelming desire to write a new inclusive chapter in the history of hip hop. But while Sweetface Killer slash Dad and I offers a positive and playful twist on the genre with his fusion of upbeat house and contemporary rap. The emotionally fraught inspiration behind his new music casts a tall shadow over his recent release. Now, born and raised in New York, tough Staten Island housing projects, Infinite was already well versed in the genre through his estranged father long before he considered pursuing his own music career. And little wonder, the Wu Tang Clan helped redefine gangster rap with the release of their gritty debut album, Into the Wu Tang 36 Chambers, in '93, and a subsequent stream of often groundbreaking solo releases from its respective members, along them Ghostface critically acclaimed debut, Iron Man. But Infinite says the perceived homophobia that underpinned some of the group's lyrical content alienated him from his absent father as he struggled to come to terms with his own sexuality, saying, I've always been who I am, and I always remember hearing a lot of slurs, rhymes with maggot, things like that. So it kind of resonated with me growing up. At some point, when I started to get into my music and my writing, I started realizing the beautiful parts of my dad. Like, he's a great storyteller, and I never even got into that and never even knew that. I was like, wow, he can really tell a story. He can really write. I always knew there was talent, but it didn't really resonate with me. In rap, you can hear there's a lot of homophobia, but I try to give him grace because I know his dad wasn't there for him when he was a child. So I don't always want to blame him. He doesn't know how to be a father because he didn't have one. Well, him coming to that revelation, I feel like that's actually pretty noble. Because it's like, oh, you could easily say it's probably because of the homophobia. Maybe that it is. Because you did say that he always calls your other siblings, but he doesn't have that relationship with you. So maybe there is a little bit of that. He doesn't know how to reconcile or deal with the fact that he has a gay child. But also there's that thing that we do with trauma where we pass it down. Your father passed that trauma down to your grandfather passed that trauma down to your father because your grandfather wasn't there for your father. Therefore, he doesn't know how to be there for you. There needs to come a point, and I guess in due time I'll have to learn this, that you have to be able to break that cycle. Where it's like just because your father wasn't there doesn't necessarily mean you can't be there for your own kid as well. He said, I'm just ready to be recognized. He said, I've been the underdog for so long because I was so insecure. When it comes to rap, I just want to rap, but I always thought I wasn't allowed in that space. And I think it's because, him being gay and there's no prime example of you could be openly queer and a rapper because it's frowned upon. You see how they be treating people like Little Nas X, and once upon a time we almost had a rapper named Caution. That was supposed to be a part of I think Tamora Lee Simmons' baby fat situation. She was trying to do a whole record label thing that never transpired, and he was getting all the press. I remember on a lot of the talk shows and stuff, and it just didn't happen. He said, "I grew up with family being Wu Tang, and they're very hardcore, but that's not me. I wouldn't even attempt to do it. I'm just ready to be recognized and not be the underdog no more." He also, while his father has been absent from his life, he does credit his uncle RZA for remaining by his side and providing the emotional support he needed during his upbringing. So RZA's sister is Infinite's biological mother, also provided the financial backing for the artist's forthcoming debut album, and he admits his burgeoning career might never have taken off had it not been for his fatherly encouragement. He said, honestly, my Uncle RZA has been amazing. He's been like my dad. I love him so much. He's amazing. That's my guy right there. I've always been a fan of RZA because RZA always seemed like he's very much like, well, he's all about the spirituality and the Wu Tang and the martial arts and all that other stuff. So he always seemed like he's always kind of had like this whole spiritual center to him, where he's way more open minded than the other people up there. He said he believed in me always. He just didn't know how to brand me, but I appreciate him being honest with me. He always said, "You'll be bigger than your father." Well, it's like, yeah, nobody really. I mean, no shade, but how do you market an effeminate black queer rapper to the masses when hip hop has always been kind of like male dominant, very much hyper masculine, and rooted in a lot of homophobia? Like, how do you kind of unpack all of that? when this is what people know. So they said, produced by Zach Witness and spread across 12 tracks, Infinite said his new album will give fans an opportunity to hear my story first, one that began on the streets of Staten Island that led to my extended period of homelessness in New York City, a bleak experience that ultimately fueled his creativity. Saying in 2020, I was in a shelter for a year, almost 11 months. I got out in 2021. I always tell people that was probably one of the most depressing moments of my life. I went to the shelter because I couldn't take the family drama. I knew I would have been able to get my own apartment, but I knew I wouldn't be able to maintain it. So I had to try and be smart. Family drama was really bad and it blocked me from doing what I'm doing now. I had to be taken to the ferry I had to take the ferry into the city and then the train for an hour and a half to Queens, and that was my travel every single day to catch my curfew. In the beginning, it was so depressing, but then I started using those moments on the train to think. I just started thinking, and those thoughts helped me calm down and appreciate that I was going to get out here and have my own space. I learned a lot through those travels, and when I finally got my own apartment, my producer was with me in my house for a couple of weeks, and that's when the music started in 2021. He added, now I can say I appreciate the moment because if I didn't have that moment, I would never have been able to write how I do today. I had to do that. I had to experience that, or I would not be here today doing this. I swear to you, I had no idea a lot of the articles that I would be doing today was going to kind of take this whole spiritual turn. Is like from the Madonna interview that we did to the Jennifer Lopez revelation to this story. I'm like, it's funny how like the topics I picked. I tell you, it's the universe at work because a lot of times the universe will be like, this topic needs to go here and this needs to go there and that happens here, and this is how the show turned out. So, it is. I don't know. I just had that revelation while I was reading that thing. It's like, yeah, if I didn't go through all the things I went through, I wouldn't be where I am now, doing what he loves. With the single and its film noir inspired video released on September 17th, Infinite is hoping to inject some much needed diversity into the hip hop genre after seeing his community repeatedly underrepresented and frequently appropriated by urban artists. And this is the part he said that I absolutely love when I was reading, when I read the article. I was like, this is the part I actually love that he said. He said, I feel like there's so much talent in my community, and I also don't understand why so many of us are not allowed or invited into the hip hop community. They use us for fashion, but we could do much more than that. I mean, there's a problem until you want us to dress you. You know what I mean? But I think there's a lot of amazing hip hop artists in my community who deserve a lot more recognition and a lot more respect. When you're a girl, it's okay to be gay, but when you're a guy, it's like, no, we don't want that. I'm not here for it. But that's the way the world is right now. I'll be the one to break a lot of those barriers. So it's a long road, but after enjoying enthusiastic online response to the music, he's dreaming big. He says, I have cousins who can't rap a llama lick, but get a chance. I'm like, where's my chance? So I'm ready to be seen. So he's ready to be seen. He says he wants a Grammy. And before I just wanted to take care of my business, but now I want a Grammy. And look, there needs to be a point in time where we got openly queer artists with a Grammy. I mean, Lil Nas X has one. So why can't Infinite have one? And I do agree with that. It's like y'all want us to be in the background, dressing y'all, making y'all look good. But when it comes time for us to showcase that we could spit just as hard as y'all are, we have just as much, if not more talent than you, y'all get mad. Y'all don't want us to share the same spaces because y'all worrying about what other people think and you think we gonna take y'all shine or whatever. If you are a talent, then be the talent. Don't sit and worry about if I got with something better than you. But for the most part, um I'm really rooting for this kid. And yeah, definitely go over there to We Are You Radio and check out the weekly top 40 among all the other things. But if you want to check out some real queer musical talent and all that, so or follow him on the gram. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Infinite? And yeah, we need more black queer rappers in the game. We definitely need that. Rap is kind of dry right now. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.